it was, oh hell no, my kids are not going to be the ones that I'm going to have to learn through. It's going to be me or clients. I don't need it with my children. Because all of a sudden, my healthy little babies started to have something wrong with them. And when I started to pay attention to that, it's like, oh, no. No, 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 no. So I asked the universe, and I changed the attraction factor. Then all of a sudden, my kids were healthy as could be. I could not handle, at that point, constantly worrying day in and day out. That was a fire starter for me to jump on the bandwagon of learning all the healing tools, because when my daughter was, you're told to follow because this is the best for your child, and you're looking at the authority. I gave my daughter the inoculation, and my lively little girl that was so beautiful and happy and smiling all the time, and social bug, become this, I thought I broke her. She was lifeless. She was limp. She just, I'm crying, and the doctor says, oh, that's just normal. And I'm, fuck that. There is no way that is normal. Having a fever, maybe. There's no life. There's no spark. It's like she checked out, but not dead, but she checked out. And I took her to my first teacher, and I said, I broke her! And then my teacher's going, what? And I'm trying to, she said, inoculation? Yes, yes, where? And I pointed. She immediately took the little baby and started to do, she had Reiki, but she also had all these other abilities. And within 20 minutes, my daughter came back to life. And I said, I have to get this confidence, and I need this knowledge so that I do not have to be the person or the baby that gets caught under the table and blaming something.
At the beck and call of other people who decide what your reality should be.
Exactly. I'm tired of that pimp in the hole. I need to be the one to drain. So when I was getting a healing done, somebody said they were checking me, and they said, oh, you're unable to let love in. Let the love in. And as I started to let the love in, my throat started to choke up. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm literally feeling like the air is being choked out of me as I allow the love in. And there's different perspectives. Remember, there's not just one answer, a kaleidoscope of answers. So I started to work on, can I open up and receive love from my best friend? Which means support, listening, and just being there for me. Can I go to her first instead of me waiting for her to come? There's all of these different things that I had to learn socially to develop, because I was an extreme introvert with a, a brain fart. Words wouldn't come through. There would be a particular Tourette's issue. There would be a stuttering issue. And it was because of this undeveloped social dynamic about me. And I learned not to want to receive because of the consequences of socially interacting as a child, because you're always chastised, told to shut up and be quiet. Kids are better
seen and not heard.
And in my case, you don't want to see them nor hear them. I don't even want to admit that I got kids type energy. And so my social development was arrested for such a long time that now what's interesting is, like, I was watching The Help the other day and with Jen, and the humanity of people coming together and creating a movement, a revolution, and to, the revelation that I ended up receiving and watching almost was hard to put into the correct language, because I wanted it and I could feel it. It made me cry, but I was choking up. I couldn't bring the energy in and I couldn't understand why. Well, when you're happy and you're receiving and somebody beats the crap out of you, guess what you're going to blame?
I guess I better not be happy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to receive that.
Yep, so you learn to shut up, say that it's that fault, and you can't do that because that is going to come and hurt you, so therefore you end up doing this. We're going to take a small little break and we'll be right back. when you allow yourself to start to connect the dots, it's not about blaming. It is getting those epiphanies. They are the aha moments. It's the connecting of the dots. And what's important isn't say, oh my God, now I know who to be mad at. No, 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 no. You can say, oh my God, the intensity, I need to get rid of that.
Well, what's interesting is that we have a couple of TV shows that we like to watch, and the main characters, we can actually see the characters, whether they're written or whatever, however they're written, if that's how it is, but you can see them, they're investigating certain things, being detectives, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a minute. Huh. And you see a little light bulb go on. And for us, it's with spiritual investigation, and we're looking and saying, oh, huh, I see how that plays a part. I see how that plays a part. I see how that plays a part. Okay, this is what's going on. Now let's resolve it. Okay, and
yeah, like for instance, usually they're detective movies we're watching, but to be able to spiritually investigate, it's connecting the dots. We do it all the time to some degree. Now, granted, one of my archetypes is being an investigator, so that really helps. But you can develop a thirst and a hunger to actually wanting to help and to resolve it, to move forward. Because it's that hump of, oh my God, I gotta exercise. Oh, if you see it as work, no fun, it hurts, and you're wrapping yourself up. Because usually exercise, when you're wrapping yourself up, and it's like, oh my God, my body feels heavy, or I don't want to do it. Because it's based on a feeling that usually drives you to whether or not you're going to continue. So you have to really look at the self-talk that comes from it. And usually it's based on a feeling. And this is so important because it's based on how you know, how you recorded it, how you were going to respond. You have a pattern and a program that's running at all times. The education and the information about this, I had one friend, she's like, oh my God, I don't want to learn all this. Can't you just go dink and I'm all better? And I'm like, you don't want to put any effort to it. I see that. But you're putting a lot of effort into keeping your hells alive. What do I mean by that, Jen?
So, let's see. How do you even know that you're in hell? I mean, really. You go around in life, we live in a, you know, whatever's going on in our country, group consciousness and all that stuff that needs to change. But fairly, I mean, we're lucky enough to live in the country that we do. And we have certain, you know, benefits, and you know, we can drive, we have the freedom to go certain places, and we have friends, and we can go out socially and eat here and there and have things provided for us, and you know, all of that good stuff. But so what do you mean I'm in a hell? I'm in a hellish state?
This is what we were talking about.
I can't even grasp that I'm in a hellish state.
And people
seriously,
do not believe that they are.
I'm going through life, I've got a job, I've got this, I've got that, I've got a car, I can go these places, and, you know, and I like doing these certain things, so why?
Well, we got a message.
Hello! Yes!
Go ahead, Jen.
So, again, and, I mean, we have all these amazing ways to communicate, and technology, and all this kind of stuff, and, I mean, life is good. What do you mean that I am in hell? I don't get that. Why are you constantly telling me
you're trying
I'm
to put it in my head.
living in a hellish state?
What's funny is I had this couple. She seemed to be really open to that I'm a medium, and she really liked the idea of the healing. And then when she started to talk about life, she had put on a mask that we all do as kids to be able to fit into society, and the pain and anguish of when you get hurt, you store it and you ignore it and you put on a face and a mask and the shadow. If you watch Debbie Ford or listen to Debbie Ford, you will understand more of what I'm talking about. But
Your shadow self.
She sat there and was talking to me, and oh, everything's good, good, good. So she's asking about her husband. She's asking about her grandkids. I said, well, what about you? You understand that people can't show up to you any other way you let them. So if your kids are having problems, why don't we look at what your belief system is into that? What are you talking about? My kids are great. And then in the next breath, she's telling me how she can't trust her son. Okay, that's great conflict. So I'm doing my best to communicate. And I says, well, it's called healing your health. She literally said, I don't have any health. But in the next breath would tell me her health, how she doesn't like something, how she can't pay her bills, how, you know, she'll learn her lesson so she won't do it again.
On the way over, oh, that, you know, a-hole cut me off on the way over here. Those people just drive like this and that and the other, and like, the hell, you know, they're just going to do this to me anyway.
So it's that blaming the other person.
Right, and so it's that complaint, like, oh, I hate having, yeah, I can use this computer, but oh my god, I don't want to learn anything new about it. And oh my god, it's just against me, and this effing thing just doesn't work for me. Seriously. And that person is just doing this to me. I don't, oh, wait a minute, you're telling me that I'm living out my health? What do you mean? And I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
What's interesting is that there's a learning curve, and people tend to forget there is one. And if you were a kid learning something and somebody's jamming it down your throat, being mean and calling you stupid, what are you, stupid? You can't get this? It only could take just a brief second, but at the same time you're going to be intimidated and you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it wrong, and so you don't want to do it at all. So then you do that self-talk of pulling you away from not the learning as much as I'm afraid that the next step is that you're going to hurt me. And people don't realize that it's all about safety.
Right, security. I don't want to learn anything new because that's my experience of how I learn things. Mm-hmm. I always had those asshole teachers.
Yeah, and so and it starts quite young. And literally, like for instance, they want me to muscle test her. So if you were watching the video, and the thing is that she say, I can muscle test.
I can muscle test.
Okay, on a soulful level, she can't. She believes that she can. And Jen, if I were to say to you, I can. Do you believe on a conscious level, can you muscle test?
At some level, I can muscle test.
At some level, she says she can muscle test. So, do you have trouble muscle testing with certain people? Do you have certain situations? Yes. So now you can narrow it down. So, can she muscle test? Yes. But does her soul believe that she can muscle test on all things? No. And does she have self-esteem when she muscle tests? No. Does she have secret self-esteem when she muscle tests? No. And why doesn't she have this ability to be able to do this inside the womb at birth, 1 to 5, 5, 4, 3 years old? Because when she started to approach something, when she took the action to do it, she got chastised. She was told that she was dumb. So it was a direct quote. And from the mother, the sister. And so why bother doing it? Because somebody's going to tell you how to do it better because you're already doing it wrong. So she doesn't even want the learning curve. How does that feel familiar? Does that make sense? Does that...
Yeah, because, and I'm not blaming my sister. She is my sister. We were birthed to the same people, so therefore we have a biological relationship. She is my sister. I'm not blaming her. She had to be that person for me so that I could, whatever I wanted to do with my soul, mature my soul and all that kind of stuff. But repeatedly, so she has genius level IQ. And if anybody watches The Big Bang Theory and they know the character Sheldon, that was who I grew up with. So then and my mom figured out, oh, well, my oldest daughter's smart and my youngest daughter's having trouble with it, logically, she should be able to tutor, my younger daughter on how to do math and that kind of thing. So I'd get out my textbook and say, hey, I'm learning this, da-da-da-da-da. And she said, well, why don't you know that already? God, you don't even know that? And I'm like...
So she's telling you how she already knows that particular thing we just looked into.
Honest to God, this is the assignment from the teacher, and this is where we are. I have no control over the God-blessed curriculum. This is where I am developmentally. No, I don't already know. And it was just like, it was torture.
Yes. And so she knew from like at 3 years old that as she starts to approach something, especially if she wants to learn it, then she's going to have somebody that's going to come along and tell her, you should know this already. You know, and she'll learn when she's supposed to. But at the same time, if there's a certain intensity that's around that particular thing. So when she said she had a sister that says, why don't you know this already? And as I'm muscle testing, I can feel that, oh God, yeah, she believes that, and this is, so is she still being controlled by it? Yes. Does she still lose power? Yes. How much? Oh, a lot. So that was something that needs to be healed in her past, because now let's look at this. This particular thing that occurred, is this affecting your future? Is it affecting your present? Yes. The present moment of with your will? Yes. Does it intimidate you? Yes. Does it cause you not want to be going out there? Yes. If you say, I can become famous.
I can become famous.
No. And is it because you're afraid someone's going to come along and say, you know,
whatever that shit?
Yes. So it's affecting her ability to become famous. So I have 2 opportunities that are coming up, which have to do with launching me. Us, not yet. She's not quite there yet. But I told the universe that I still can go forward in my life. I don't need to have to stop it. And so I have 2 opportunities at the end of this year to launch myself in a telesummit. And it'll be just like having an interview, just like doing a radio show. So I have a lot of that experience under my belt. And if I start to feel nervous, what do you think I'm going to tell myself? You can heal that. And I'm going to, you know, double check. And the thing is part of me is like, can I receive this goodness? I have to heal a little bit more social development, and then letting in the goodness, because I've been working on my dissertation for 5 years. And I look at that and I'm thinking, why is it that every time I go to approach it, I know the stuff, I'm writing about knowing, and it isn't about psychically knowing, it's about the fact that you know as a human being. You know you don't like this person. You know that you're sick. You know that the world sucks. You know. And it's that type of how to find that knowing and to start changing that consciousness. And it's the bringing that in. And what I realized is that if I became Dr. Brenda Bates, medicine woman, then that means I would be out there more and have to become more socially evolved. At first I thought it was when I told myself I don't like sales because you have to sell yourself, but it's all about social interaction.
Other people.
And bringing them in my space. I can do it in small amounts. And if I know that you come to me, then guess what? I should be somewhat safe. But I literally have to go out there and find you. And I need to find a platform. And it's like, oh my gosh. So this part of me that got arrested and couldn't develop is now out of prison and is going to allow that part to grow and interact, because we have to learn that it's the limitations of what we've learned as a lesson now becomes a limitation in a prison, and now we have to take the intensity of how we know and change it and decide, do we really need that show up? People walk around and are happy and feel happy, but yet they look around and say, God, I'm poor, I can't stand this. And I'll say, well, let's heal that. Well, maybe I need to change the word and say, let's see what program's running to project you to do this. You know, what attracting factor that constantly you put out there so you can still stay, and your frontal lobe will constantly create that you're poor. What do we need to change? You know, what closure do we need? What needs to be unlearned? What needs to be, because as far as the unlearning part, it's important, because T. Harv Eker talks about the money blueprint. And it's basically when you come into this space, whatever the consciousness, it's usually from your family about how they handled money, you end up then handling the money the same way. Not blaming, but you ask for a template, and that's what you got, was a family. And that's the family that gives you the template. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll be right back. Enjoy.
Hello!
Hello! It reminds me of the
Mrs.
show I used
Doubtfire.
to... Yes, I loved Mrs. Doubtfire. So, what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears. We're going to interpret a dream. Most of the time, dreams are misunderstood. And the scary part of a dream, it's intentional so that you can remember it, because we're so good at training ourselves not to remember our dreams. because those little glial cells will come along and prune everything and make you forget what you have. So it's always important that we try to remember it with some form of intensity. So Jen had a particular dream, and if you could be so sweet as to tell everybody your dream, and the best you can.
All right, so it was a fairly intense dream. I was with my mom in a car driving along. Can't really remember the details.
Who's driving?
I don't even remember who was driving.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even remember who was driving. So we're going along and we're on this journey and we're supposed to, and most of the time my mom and I are really good road trip partners. And, you know, chit-chat along the way and all that kind of stuff. So it's not unfamiliar, but we're in this car going along, and then I don't even know how this authority came to us, whether it was over the radio or if we stopped at a certain place to hear the message. But we're driving along and we're in the mountains, and the message was, you can't go any further. The road is shut down for the night. You can't go on this road, and you have to stay at this hotel. And they were even like, oh, that's not going to be good, because it wasn't the Bates Motel, but it was still like a creepy place to stay. I know, your last name's Bates.
And she lives at Bates Motel. Just kidding.
Yeah, it's a good thing that this is a one-level place, and I don't live next door to the farmhouse where there's...
Yeah, that farmhouse is creepier.
Yeah. Good to know. Okay, awesome. So...
Halloween, I'm going to stick her over there. No, I'm just kidding.
All my worst fears. I love that you're going to play on all my worst fears. That's fabulous. So, anyway...
It's for ratings! Just kidding.
Every week is Sweeps Week. So anyway, it was just like this creepy hotel at the base of this mountain, and the people who told us that the road was closed and that we couldn't go anymore, they were just so remorseful on one level because they knew that something was going to happen overnight at that hotel, because it was that's just what it was known for. And they're like, oh my, we have no control over the situation other than the road is closed for whatever reason. I don't even know why it was closed, and you have to stay here. And I was like, oh crap. And
So is that a dream?
Yeah, it's my dream.
So, your mom is actually an aspect of you. Now, you said that your mom and you work well together.
Yeah.
So that part of you that works well together. Mm-hmm. My question is she in control of this, and you guys have a routine?
There is on some level a way to do it as far as a road trip goes. There's already a template, but it's also free-flowing at the same time in that, oh, I need to stop. Do you need to stop? Okay, let's stop here and let's do
Working
this.
Together.
Okay, okay, I'll put gas in the car if you need to go in. Okay, no, I'll put gas in the car and you go in. And so, yeah, I mean,
So really there's a part of her that needs to be mothered, and she's mothered in the way that it's about being in sync and helping her and working together. That's good. Now, if you look up the word car, you can all do your own dream interpretations, or you can call us and set an appointment, and we can do that as far as a reading. But the car is, so I'm going to have her look that up. We're going to dreammoods.com, and it's actually a quick, easy, fast way, and they got a lot of really good insight. And she will read to you in just a second about what cars are as soon as the computer cooperates.
Right. Is there something else?
So she said that she did not have who's driving. So in some cases, when you're in your dream, she doesn't feel like she's driving, or she doesn't feel like she's not driving. So really, who's in charge? Right now, that seems to not be her. Okay? So something happens that seems to be in charge, and it's not her. The part of her that's the mother and figure and stuff, it's not even that part. But now we go, and what's important to understand, she's going to look up car, hotel. She's going to look up mountain, and then highway, automobile. So what usually they'll tell you have to look for.
Okay, so I did look up highway.
Okay.
To see a highway in your dream represents your sense of direction and your life's path. Consider the conditions of the highway, which will reveal how much you feel in charge of your life. A smooth, straight highway signifies inner peace, while a winding, bumpy road reflects emotional distress and disharmony.
Alright, so there's a part of her that has a sense of direction, and it's going in the direction they need to. The mountain, or...
I haven't looked up mountain yet.
Okay. So, usually the computer's faster. Car, let's do car.
To dream that you are driving a car denotes your ambition, your drive, and your ability to navigate from one stage of your life to another. Consider how smooth or rough the car ride is. If you're driving the car, then you're taking an active role in the way your life is going. However, if you are the passenger, then you're taking a passive role.
Okay. So now I want you to look up mountain. So we have sense of direction and ambition, the drive to do it. And is she in charge? Is there a part of her that feels like it's safe to go? And at some point, look up highway. Is that one's doing it? Alright. Highway.
We looked up
okay, sense
highway.
of direction. Alright,
Yeah.
so hotel.
And the hotel is a new state of mind or shift in personal identity. You are undergoing some sort of transition and need to move away from your old habits and old way of thinking. You need to temporarily escape from your daily life. Alternatively, the dream may imply a loss of your personal identity.
Well, part of that personal identity that she has is that she's going to have to let go of what no longer serves her, which could be fear, or it is that she has to put I'm not safe. Now, what's a mountain?
To see mountains in your dream signify many major obstacles and challenges that you have to overcome.
Okay. What, if there's any more? Yeah?
No.
Okay. So, what she has to understand is that she said she was at the base of this mountain. And at the base of this mountain, because they're ready to go up, and she has the ambition, the drive, she has the way to navigate, she's ready to go, but there's a block. The obstacle that stands in her way is that she has to take and resolve a particular way of looking at the fear and decide, okay, I need to let go of this certain personality. It could be that she maybe is angry and that she has to be critical, or that she has to denigrate herself. Whatever it is, before she can go into that next path of who she is, she has got to be okay to let that go. And not let it go by just, let it go, but to resolve it so that the new state of mind can come in, so she can go up that mountain, which is her higher self. Going in that next direction is going up, going to who she is and more authenticness. So I'm curious of what particular characteristic, pattern, program. Somebody wrote me the other day and says, hey, the stuff I put on my wall, do I look angry? And I had to be honest with them, and I said, yes, because you're...
If you're just looking at the story that somebody tells on their Facebook wall, you kind of gather a sense of who that person is. Because I've had people challenge me on certain things that are on my wall because, there are certain things, but they don't even know who I am, but they're basing who I am based on my Facebook profile.
Considering I had 333. Considering I had, without realizing it, I like this particular thing, I had hit shared, which then it tells you who it's from, what wall it's from. And it was a political wall, and I had no idea. I just liked the particular thing that the message was.
A picture.
It was a picture. It was positive, and it was reinforcing empowerment through enlightenment. And then I had this guy come on and start attacking me. And when we had a conversation, one of the things that occurred simply was, well, if you don't want to fight, then don't put political stuff on your wall. Now, I hadn't even read where it had come from. I was too interested in the positive message that was coming from from it. And he was attacking that it was a political thing. You know, when they say, okay, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, don't talk about what other little social thing do they tell you not to talk about? Because they are meant to spark anger, frustration, war, fighting.
Well, then I guess I'm not going to have a Facebook profile if I'm not supposed to do any of that stuff.
But my wall is that I'm supposed to be the moderator, and I have to be okay with what I like on my wall. Do I want controversy just because they want it? No, I don't have to. I don't have to engage and react in that fashion. So on my wall, what do you see? A lot of it has to do with inspiration, funny jokes. Sometimes it has to do with sexual stuff. Sometimes, you know, there's just these little particular things. Then you go to my fan book page. Life represents. I really go into detail of what bugs represent, what does numbers represent, and then I have on the side food that's been
food art.
Food art. I happen to
because
like
it's
food art.
because there's some really amazingly creative people with food, and I love seeing those pictures.
Well, good. I feel like I'm doing a service then.
It makes me hungry.
For me, I love to look at how to think outside the box, how to look at and create it, and because you know then if you do, then it creates a sense of safety, a sense of, oh my gosh, I can do this, I can figure it out, I can look, and there's always seems to be a way. It seems to be a back door. There seems to be, you know, you can do this. It encourages. To me, it has always encouraged me. For others, they may not see it like that at all. They can see it's a waste of food, depending on where their belief system or their programs run. So, you know, and as I'm looking at this particular wall, I know, because they come to me because they know that I'm going to tell it like it is on a soulful level. It's not, it doesn't have to be my truth. It happens to be what their soul's particularly looking at. And as I'm looking, there's always have to defend. Well, I got to say this because I got to because you're in my face. So here's a little meme to hopefully it'll piss you off.
And don't let the door hit your butt on the way out.
And then there's the funny ones about how they can degrade oneself or degrade another. I mean, there's always something on the wall.
I'm sorry that I'm doing this. Is that getting in the way of your life? Oh, TFB.
You know, and that is a particular attitude. Do you feel very comfortable and familiar with that?
That was my mode of operating for a great many of years.
Okay, so let me have your arm for a minute. Part of climbing that mountain is this particular attitude that you have to stop identifying with. Does that need to be resolved? Oh my gosh, yeah. If this resolved, can you go up your mountain then? Yes. So we just discovered, hey, that, see, and again, is there anything wrong with it? No! But her soul says, you're holding yourself back because you are carrying a particular behavior, familiarity that needs to be resolved, and to stop identifying with it and to stop feeding it. What do I mean by feeding it, Jen?
Well, all those wonderful little memes on Facebook are like little food. That's feeding it.
And it makes you feel really good, don't you?
Oh my God, I could totally be a bitch.
Yes, and I can see that with that person, it reinforces the things that maybe you believe in, gives you the proof you're looking for, but it will actually keep you in a very limitation. And this is what I was trying to help this one person understand is, do you like the limitation? I'm not in limitation. How's your life turning out for you right now? Oh, well, it could be better. Okay, so how about we look at what's causing it not to be healthy and then choose to resolve it so you can move forward. And they're like, but there's nothing wrong with me. And I didn't say there was.
Well, okay, so, for instance, hypothetically speaking, that I would need to resolve this certain identification of who I was.
Yes.
And I would actually, I kind of made reference to it earlier about that this is in my aura. It's in my field because that's who I was for a defense mechanism. That's who I was. It was a form of safety because it was the walls around my castle that would protect me, and if they were going to get through, then they were determined, and they would get. Oh, and then I knew they were loyal, if they were willing to scale those walls, to climb it, to do whatever, to get in, and they would kind of meet certain standards, then I'm not saying we're healthy, that then I knew that they were loyal, they were interested, and then maybe we could hang out. And so I was gonna, you were saying something about feeding it and that kind of thing. Well, is it limiting? Well, how are my relationships? Oh, wait, I'm not in one. So maybe the two have something to do with each other. And if I'm interested in wanting a healthy relationship with a partner, a significant other, then maybe, and I don't want to behave in this way because I don't want them to expect me to have to be that bitch to some degree, because my ex-husband wanted that. He liked the feisty, he liked the fight back, and
because
he
that's
liked this.
who we met, how we met her. The attraction factor was there because this is her persona. This is who I am.
Yeah, you got something wrong with it, and the whole, oh, you're so sexy when you're angry.
Oh,
God,
that's her off
that
to the max.
Just a little bit. So yeah, absolutely. Because I now understand that maybe a healthy relationship is a good thing, that this is not gonna, they can't go together. They just can't. If I want that, then I have to let go of this, to the end where, like this summer, for example, I was out with a friend, we went out dancing, and I've told this story before, and maybe
you'll get it after this
message.
You were telling us about going out. So
okay.
And what before she does, what happened is I watched her body, or I could feel it, go into a stress alarm. So as she's about ready to tell me this, there's an intensity, and the story is stored in her spleen, which means she could create an allergic reaction. And if you were here on Monday night show, you've heard all about allergies. So, Jen, could you tell?
So I was talking about how, yes, this persona of who I used to be and that kind of thing needs to be healed out, but it's still playing out somewhere in my energy field where I don't, like I said way earlier in the show, I don't have that conscious contact because that's not who I identify myself with. That's not how I would describe myself.
She did it before when we went out, and I thought, you're putting off this little vibey vibe that's actually causing these men to knock down like dominoes not to come near you. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, and so then I had to recognize, what the hell I am? No, okay, seriously. So then I went out with one of my friends, and it took a while to get the dancing going and that kind of thing, and we got going, and then I'm noticing how all these guys are flocking to her. And I thought...
Not me.
Not...
Just to let my husband know, not me.
Yes, a different friend that I went out with.
There.
So...
Just let's set the record straight.
Okay. So, anyway, so all these guys are like flocking to her, and I'm watching this, and she and I are dancing. And
she
doing all this
does.
stuff.
She has this energy. She even has 2-year-olds going, oh my God, I want to be in her space, which is the most funniest thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, and so it's awesome. But then I'm watching, and I'm like, seriously, do I smell bad? I know I put on perfume before we left.
And she was a knockout. She has this great shirt that enhances this front section, and the way that the lines are,
the girls
great,
like
the
to
girls can be happy.
Right, so yeah, I mean, I had all the, and I'm not ugly, so it's like,
No.
Then I go to the bathroom.
Good for her.
Awesome. To look in the mirror to double check to see, do I have like slime on my face? To the point where it's like I'm 39 and I'm in the bathroom checking myself out, making sure that I don't have like goobers all over me, and that like I'm good enough, I'm strong enough, and doggone it, people like me. Giving myself a pep talk like, I'm not going to cry about this, but like, seriously, what is going on? It was like, whoa. And so then I'm like, okay, pull myself up by the bootstraps and go back out. It's like, it's not like I've never been out in a bar before. So I go, and it's I just stand off to the side and I watch. Because of who we are and what we do, I go into that investigation mode. And I was seriously just, okay, this is what's going on. I'm not going to get down about it. It's just, okay, if I'm supposed to observe and make note of what's going on, then that's what I'm going to do. So I just stand there. And I'm watching, and I'm seeing this, that, and the other thing happen. So this guy comes up and says to me, do you know you're kind of putting off this vibe that you don't want people? And I'm like, really? I'm seriously in this investigation mode, and some guy comes over and actually says this to me. Okay, I got instant feedback. And that's awesome, because I think, okay, well, you know, when we ask for clues and signs and that kind of thing, and when we're participating in our life.
One walks right up to you.
One walks right up and says, hey, do you know you're doing this? And 180, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want my face in your chest. And I'm like.
He said tits, actually. Tits in my face.
Exactly. So I'm like, I didn't even know how to process that. Like, you're just calling me a bitch and then you want to say you want to play with the girls. Awesome. That is like, I don't even, that's a pickup line, right? And it also sounds better if you have a British accent. So.
Oh, really?
Really. So then he's standing there and he's like.
You can email her at.
The front door, seriously. So then, oh my God, I don't get embarrassed.
Right, sorry, okay. Story.
The story goes on. So I'm standing there and he's like, I mean, like a count of 5. And he said, so what are you thinking? You know, what's going on? And I'm like.
She must have really a bright
I'm like, normally I have quick wit. I have a response
Extreme
for
wit. Yes.
everything. And I'm standing there going, I don't know what to even say. And he's like, well, what do you... And I'm like, I think there might be a mutual attraction. Maybe. I don't know. Sure, sure.
So men, a pickup line that, hey, you're a bitch, but you know what? Your tits look attractive, and you throw them off center, they may just agree.
Exactly, because that's the most direct anybody's been with me.
Yes, it was a point about being how they were direct.
Exactly, so it was just like, what?
You're not messing with me, you're not making it, you know, stupid crap up. And
exactly, yeah. Oh, let me check that label. Oh, yes, made in heaven. You know, I don't need that crap.
Thank you. Flattery gets you nowhere, apparently, with her, except for what they want.
Exactly. So maybe I might want to heal a few things. Good times.
Okay, so while she's gabbing about this, and it says, take the relationship cards. So I did.
Oh, I love relationship cards.
So the first thing is that why is she having the social interaction issues? Because of new love.
Yeah.
It's allowing herself to bring in that new stream of consciousness that's other than what she knows. Okay? Then I said...
Oh, you mean healthy?
Healthy, yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
And so then I said, so what about it? This social thing. And then I get the card called Stuck in the Mud. Now, you're going to read...
That's my favorite all-time card ever. Kidding.
And
Is that sarcasm? Is that sarcasm?
Yeah. Okay, Shel.
Becoming stuck is sometimes the only way to trick yourself into slowing down and looking around you. In fact, this is a sign that you need to shift your focus away from what you're doing and place your attention elsewhere. Oh, focal point, so that the universe could rearrange some things.
That was an epiphany in the middle of a conversation. But go.
Struggling will only get you even into muddier places. Sometimes
like the baby
fun.
under the table. Oh. Okay, so we have an innuendo. Somebody close that door or window. Go ahead.
Now is not the time to move forward, but to observe. Which is interesting, because that's what I was doing. I was actually becoming the observer in my situation. Clarity about your circumstances will come a little later. Stop and find the joy in what you've been overlooking. Soon you'll be out of the mud, but for now, be still and know that Spirit has a plan for you.
Yeah, so basically what she's still doing is understanding a new pathway, and she sits back and observes. Now, these cards flew out of the deck, and it was Okay, why does she have this social interaction issue? And it says, heart-to-heart conversations, having no passion, God, please don't let there be a wedding, and
Already did that.
and that it's learning to go through a particular lesson and forgive and learn or unlearn a particular thing. So there had been pain that needs to be released. So then I said, okay, what kind of card will represent that pile? And it came up to number 12, called Slow and Steady, but it was in reverse.
That means I get to go fast!
And it's by the Colette Baron Reed deck, if you're curious.
Okay, this is a good note to end on. Remember the old cliche, slow and steady wins the race? This is a time for easy... Wait, and that's upright.
She don't even want to give herself the right message. Go.
Go on. Pushing things forward impulsively will not only prevent success...
What? Pushing things forward impulsively will do what?
Will not only prevent success, but potentially cause...
I want it now!
Gimme! Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want
Yes.
it now! Give it to me! Was it either
You
Vermont
could
assault?
speak and sing.
No, that will cause people to stop listening to our show. Okay.
Cancel, go.
Cause more trouble than you're prepared to handle. Moving too quickly will only yield unripe fruit with a bitter taste. Awesome. Slow down. Breathe. Meditate.
Oh.
You're not a human doing. You're a human being.
That makes sense.
Just be. Everything will work out if you can apply the brakes and become more aware of what's happening in this moment. A calm focus on the now. Breathing in the beauty of your surroundings will restore your power to consciously co-create your world. All fruits ripen in their own time.
Now, I will just say a quick note is, Mark, do you see how we could use some little side effects? She's making the breaks. Really, I swear I heard you say that you can give us something that has sound effects, because we really use them.
We're entertaining.
Trust me. I
Mostly
use
to
them.
ourselves, but now we're on the air, so it's to other people.
Oh. So what'd you get from that, Jen? Stop pushing it?
Yes, observe what's going on. Why is this happening?
Oh, I'm so glad she
breathe.
said, why is this happening? Because as a soul coach, what thing are we
Why is
looking
this
for?
happening to me?
What is the specific thing that you want me to ask, Jen? Dead air. That's not good. Keep talking.
Actually, dead air around us is actually quite lively because we're mediums.
Yeah.
So,
But not for the radio. All you hear is her going, that's not sounding pretty good at all.
Shut the
Oh, unless somebody likes that sound. Alright, it's a tease
We're
Jen
creating
day.
a new
So, Spirit,
pathway, and what
is
do
it?
I need to observe?
Ah.
If I'm slowing down to observe my reality, what is
Broken promises.
Oh God.
Did you hear that phrase? Oh God, do you think there's an intensity there? Oh, let's find out. Give me that arm. Say, I have issues with broken promises. Yes, 20,008 billion, 28 billion, 28 billion. I think we just found the next thing that she's going to observe, spiritually investigate, and to create closure to. What do you think, Jen?
Right. So when people break their promises, guess what happens? Persona of biatch. You know, oh yeah, you broke that promise and you want to come back to this?
Oh,
the
hell no.
You will. Right. Yeah, that might be unhealthy.
You know, we need one of those little devices so I can push and go, oh, boo-hoo, squish, squish.
Squish, squish.
We need to make our own.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can make something up, and then I gotta just have it on a little keyboard, or, oh, can you put it on my phone?
Ooga!
Can you put it on my phone?
I bet you could.
And then I
There's
just
an
push
app
little,
for that.
You'll find it for me then. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we don't really need to hear that one, because it wasn't a whoopee cushion. Oh, well, we came up with our own sounds.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
it's almost end of our talk show time.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, that's on the outro.
Yeah, you'll find us on Tindeck and YouTube and all those wonderful places.
Yes, youtube.com/Medicine Women Reveal.
Yeah.
for the behind the scenes because God, that was my high.
Hey, you come over to MySpace.
No, wait, we're not on MySpace. That's Facebook. Fan page, Medicine.
In your face.
Book. Medicine Women Review.
Yeah, I don't know if you got any of that. But.
Or our website.
All right, so
MW
this is
Review.
Friday, not Friday. It's Friday. So what cards do we want to real quick pull up because it's Friday?
Polish your skills by practicing regularly.
Be careful what you're
Exactly.
practicing.
Exactly, that's how you get to Carnegie Hall. Practice, practice, practice.
But the transformation, the hard part about transformation is knowing what it really is. Because you have past, which you're reluctant to do. You need to encourage yourself that you can do so. And you don't need challenges and suffering to force you to get into the anger to fight fear. You can actually use a healing tool to take the fear intensity down to 0. And then transformation will come and joy comes in place of that. The other part of the transformation is that she has a particular behavior or attitude or something that her soul has told her in a dream that it's important that if you want to go to the next part of your relationship, you really honestly need to look at it and decide, is it worth having, take the intensity off of it, and then create closure to why you created it in the first place. We want to say thank you for joining us. So get ready with your little finger on your button. And we will see you Monday night at 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ready, go.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.